Hi, I am Samantha Mann, and this is Discussion Board 3, over reading the article Evaluation and Assessment Frameworks for Improving School Outcomes. This is launched by the OECD and talks about common policy challenges. The question they keep in mind throughout this entire article is how can assessment and evaluation policies work together more effectively to improve student outcomes in primary and secondary schools. And it talks about that there's widespread recognition that evaluation and assessment frameworks are key to building stronger and fairer schools, and that there's 5 common challenges that have arisen through their research, which are governance and implementation, student assessment, teacher evaluation, school evaluation, and system evaluation. So governance and implementation is ensuring articulations within the evaluation and assessments frameworks. It talks about the need to involve reflection on the different components, such as school assessment, teacher appraisal, or standardized national level tests to assess students' progress and ways in which they can be articulated to achieve the purposes of the framework. It continues talking about feedback, which is something that as all educators we need to keep in mind, that collaboration and reflecting and giving feedback is definitely a way we can help improve our schools. When it continues with saying evaluation and assessment have no value if they do not lead to the improvement of classroom practice and student learning. And then it goes into kind of overcoming some challenges of implementing due to a wide range of factors. And then it's important for the policy to overcome the challenges of implementation, because of course if you identify problems you want to work to overcome them. Going into student assessment, something that it says, which is something we should know, is the curriculum should cover the standards and the assessment should focus on the attainment of those standards. So teaching to the standards and then assessing those standards, something that I believe most of our teachers do. And then balancing external assessments and teacher-based assessments. So the external are things that are not given by the school. They're designed and graded by other people outside of the school. And something it says is that they have a high reliability, but criticized for lower volatility, as the teacher-based are designed and graded by the student's teacher are often perceived as unreliable due to a high risk of bias, which I can see in schools. So it says to ensure the max amount of validity and reliability, there's a need for both, which makes a lot of sense. Integrating student formative assessment in the evaluation framework, that was talking about different assessments as far as complex assessments, performance-based, and it mentioned something about text banks where there were centrally developed assessments that teachers could utilize. Moving into teacher evaluation, 2 major purposes: to improve teacher practice by identifying strengths and weaknesses and holds them accountable for their performance in enhancing student learning. And something that caught my eye was when evaluation is oriented towards the improvement of practice within schools, teachers are typically more open and willing to reveal their self-identified weaknesses. But when teachers are confronted with potential consequences of evaluation on their career or salary, they're not inclined to reveal the weaker aspects of their performance, which, makes perfect sense as far as even when I want to reflect on something, I'm more likely to point out my needs when I'm working to grow versus if it's going to hurt me financially or with my career. Accounting for student results and the evaluation of teachers. So this goes into test-based accountability systems are supposed to strengthen incentives for teachers to commit to helping students meet standards and goals, which this leads to teachers teaching to the test. And it also mentioned that there's an increased amount of special education placements when that's implemented. So, of course, that's going to be a challenge because you don't want to over-identify students in their special education. Going into school evaluation, you want to align the external with the internal. The external, it says, can lead to greater rigor, so there is a need for that as well. Providing balanced public reporting, and it talks about increased accountability and transparency will help drive improvement. When you inform the public and when you talk with them about what's going on and you're very transparent and you hold yourself accountable, you gain more support from the community. It does also mention the need to improve the data handling skills of principals and teachers across the board. And then we go into system evaluation. And something it mentioned here was that it needs to be informed by high quality data, not what is just readily available. We will have to dig deeper to get the data and analyze it, monitor the outcomes, and then maximize the use of that information. And that's it. All right, thank you.